It's one of the hardest things to do in the world today, not letting the chaos infect you, not being pulled in 100 directions by anger, misinformation, outrage and distraction, not becoming the very thing you despise. In fact, in many ways, it's harder than running a marathon, writing a book, or even building a business. Because resisting the pull of the world requires an inner fortitude that most never cultivate. We live in an era where tensions are high. Political dysfunction spills into our everyday lives. Social media is flooded with misinformation, outrage and negativity. People are cruel, stubborn and inconsiderate. The world seems like it's spiraling into madness. But then, we have to ask, was it ever any different? 2,000 years ago, in the chaos of ancient Rome, the Stoics faced the same problems. Marcus Aurelius ruled during plagues, wars and political corruption. Seneca lived under the tyranny of Nero. Epictetus was born a slave and endured cruelty beyond what most of us could imagine. And yet, they didn't succumb to the madness. They remained steady, anchored and principled. So today, I want to share with you Stoic strategies to help you do the same, to help you stay grounded, focused and calm in a world that is often anything but. Because no matter how much the world changes, human nature remains the same. The people who frustrate you, the chaos that overwhelms you, and the distractions that consume you, they are not new, and they will always be with us. The question is, will you allow them to consume you, or will you rise above them? Lesson 1. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is understanding what is in your control and what isn't. The world outside of you, other people's opinions, politics, the economy, the news, these things are largely outside of your control. You cannot dictate how others behave, what circumstances arise, or the direction of world events. But what is within your control? Your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If you allow yourself to be dragged by every political scandal, every bit of gossip, and every outrage, you will be miserable. You will find yourself exhausted, emotionally drained, and constantly pulled into the whirlwind of negativity that dominates the modern landscape. But if you remind yourself that none of those things are in your control, you reclaim your peace. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from mastering the self, from detaching your inner stability from the external world. They advised that instead of being reactive to everything, we should adopt a measured, thoughtful approach. If you spend your days reacting to every breaking news headline, every social media debate, every unjust act in the world, you will be in a constant state of turmoil. Instead, cultivate a mindset of selective attention. Choose where to focus your energy and let go of the things that do not serve your peace. Each morning, make a list of what is in your control and what is not. Train your mind to focus only on what you can influence. When you feel anxiety creeping in, remind yourself of the things that are beyond your power and consciously release them. Journal about situations where you successfully maintained control over your emotions and reactions, and reflect on how it made you feel. Over time, you will strengthen this mental muscle and become more resilient to the chaos around you. Lesson 2. The power of perception. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How much of our stress, our anger, our frustration comes from the stories we tell ourselves? The Stoics knew that perception was everything. You are not disturbed by events themselves, but by your interpretation of them. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. One way to perceive it is as a disaster. You're late, your day is ruined, the world is against you. Another way is to see it as an opportunity to listen to an audiobook, to reflect, or to practice patience. The situation is the same. The suffering is optional. Now, expand this concept to larger life events. Perhaps you didn't get the promotion you wanted, or a relationship ended unexpectedly. The natural tendency is to see these as negative experiences, but what if they are merely redirections toward a better path? What if losing that opportunity forces you to seek a greater one? What if that failed relationship allows you to develop a deeper sense of self-awareness and emotional intelligence? When you shift your perception, the pain lessens and wisdom emerges. The Stoics remind us that external events do not define our inner peace. If we train ourselves to challenge negative perceptions, we cultivate a mind that remains calm even in the face of adversity. The world will always be unpredictable, but our power lies in how we choose to perceive it. A person who masters perception has already mastered much of life. Whenever you feel stressed or frustrated, pause and ask, is there another way to see this? Is this truly bad? Or is it just my interpretation? Take a moment to reframe the situation in a positive or neutral light. Write down 3 possible benefits of the event. Over time, you will develop a resilient mindset that naturally filters stress and negativity out of your life. Lesson 3. The discipline of will. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would encounter fools, liars, and selfish people. And yet, he refused to let them make him bitter. He knew that the essence of Stoicism was to accept the nature of the world and not be disillusioned by the imperfections of others. The world will test you in ways you cannot predict. People will let you down, not once, but repeatedly. Expectations will be shattered. Plans that once seemed solid will crumble before your eyes. Yet, despite all this, the only thing that truly matters is how you respond to these challenges. Every disappointment offers an opportunity for growth. Every obstacle forces you to practice patience, resilience, and wisdom. When you meet dishonesty, practice truth. When you encounter selfishness, practice generosity. When your plans fail, embrace the lesson that failure brings and move forward with even greater clarity. The people who test your patience, the setbacks that challenge your fortitude, they are not burdens, they are opportunities in disguise. Consider the trials faced by the great Stoic philosophers. Seneca, faced with exile, did not crumble under the weight of misfortune. He used it to deepen his wisdom. He embraced adversity, recognizing that struggle was the price of growth. Epictetus, born into slavery, did not see his circumstances as a barrier to greatness. He used his hardships to forge resilience and become one of the most profound teachers of his time. His teachings emphasized that external conditions were beyond our control, but how we interpret and respond to them was always within our power. The lesson here is universal. Our struggles are not meant to defeat us. They are meant to refine us. Marcus Aurelius understood that allowing himself to be consumed by the flaws of others would rob him of his peace. He chose to lead by example, to rise above, to transform every encounter into a chance to reinforce his character. He understood that the more one seeks virtue, the more life will test them. He wrote in Meditations that obstacles and difficulties should be embraced, for they strengthen our character and cultivate wisdom. His unwavering commitment to self-mastery serves as a blueprint for us today. The true test is not whether life is fair or people are just. It is whether you can remain steady, principled, and composed when the world around you is anything but. This is not passivity, it is strength. It is recognizing that external events do not dictate inner tranquility, that power lies in perspective. When faced with betrayal, can you remain truthful? When treated with disrespect, can you maintain dignity? The true Stoic does not react with blind emotion, but with calculated wisdom. He understands that the world will never be fair, but his responses to it are always within his control. The trials of life, instead of being seen as unfortunate burdens, should be reframed as stepping stones toward virtue. To cultivate such resilience, one must practice it daily, when small inconveniences arise, when unexpected hardships emerge, when others attempt to drag you into their chaos. Every moment is an opportunity to reinforce your inner stability and remain anchored in wisdom. When someone speaks harshly to you, instead of reacting with equal force, pause. Consider their words and whether they warrant a response at all. When circumstances turn against you, ask yourself what lesson they bring. True resilience is built in these small, repeated moments of self-restraint and self-reflection. It is in the ability to maintain your integrity despite temptation, to uphold your character in the face of adversity, and to choose rationality over impulse. Through patience and discipline, one transforms struggle into strength and adversity into advantage. Every difficulty, every challenge is an opportunity to exercise virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what obstructs the path becomes the path. Each setback is an opportunity to deepen your commitment to wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. As you face trials, remember that they are forging you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. The more resistance you encounter, the more resilient you become. Over time, this mindset will make you unshakable in the face of even the greatest challenges life presents. Each morning, remind yourself that you will encounter difficulties and difficult people. See them as a test of your character rather than an inconvenience. When frustration arises, pause and ask yourself, how can I use this moment to strengthen my patience and virtue? Treat each encounter as an exercise in self-mastery. Keep a journal where you reflect on moments of challenge. Identify how you responded and where you can improve. Over time, this practice will strengthen your resilience, making you immune to external disturbances. The goal is not to escape adversity, but to master the art of thriving within it. Lesson 4. The power of journaling. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is keeping a journal. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations was his private journal, a tool he used to keep himself grounded. In an overwhelming world, a journal helps you reflect, process emotions, and gain perspective. Journaling is more than just writing down thoughts. It is a structured way of organizing the chaos of the mind. It allows you to see patterns in your thinking, track your progress, and confront your fears with rationality rather than emotion. The Stoics believed that consistent self-examination was the key to wisdom. Writing daily reflections helps solidify lessons learned, recognize areas for growth, and develop emotional discipline. Marcus Aurelius would often remind himself of the principles of Stoicism by putting them into words, reinforcing his understanding and ensuring that he remained aligned with his values. His journal was not just a record of thoughts, but a tool for self-improvement, allowing him to keep his mind sharp and his intentions clear. Many people dismiss journaling as trivial, believing it to be an exercise in mere record-keeping or emotional indulgence. They think it is not impactful, that it is only for writers or those who have extra time to spare. They feel it is not for them, assuming they are too busy, too logical, or that it won't make a difference in their lives. But these assumptions could not be further from the truth. To be a true Stoic, to be genuinely committed to self-improvement, discipline, and clarity, journaling is an indispensable tool. More powerful than most realize, it serves as a personal forum where thoughts are examined, weaknesses confronted, and virtues reinforced. The process of writing forces the mind to slow down and organize its thoughts, creating a space where clarity can emerge from chaos. Great thinkers, leaders, and philosophers throughout history have relied on journaling, not just as a means of reflection, but as a tool for deliberate self-improvement. The act of writing compels you to see yourself honestly, to hold yourself accountable for your progress, and to solidify the lessons learned from daily experiences. The more consistently one engages with this practice, the more it transforms into a powerful ally for the mind. For those who feel journaling isn't for them, it is precisely those people who stand to benefit the most. It is not about keeping a diary or recounting every mundane detail of the day. It is about sharpening perception, enhancing self-awareness, and actively shaping who you become. Once you commit to this practice, its impact will become undeniable. Your mind will become clearer, your discipline stronger, and your ability to navigate life's challenges more effective. Journaling also serves as a safe space to detach from impulsive emotions and analyze them objectively. When frustration or anger arises, writing allows you to dissect these feelings rather than be controlled by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can step back, process, and respond with measured wisdom. This reflective practice can become an invaluable method for personal development, fostering clarity and preventing unnecessary turmoil. Through writing, you gain the ability to step outside your immediate emotions, assessing situations with reason rather than reactivity. Beyond emotional regulation, journaling enhances self-awareness by helping you track patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. By observing recurring emotional triggers and responses, you gain insight into your own strengths and weaknesses. This heightened awareness enables you to make better decisions and navigate life's complexities with greater wisdom. Journaling also allows you to document your aspirations, measure your progress, and refine your personal philosophy over time. Furthermore, journaling can help in strengthening resilience. By reviewing past challenges and seeing how you overcame them, you cultivate confidence in your ability to handle future hardships. It reinforces the idea that setbacks are not permanent roadblocks, but rather opportunities for growth. Additionally, it is a tool for gratitude. Recording small wins and moments of kindness reminds you that even amidst difficulty, there is still goodness in the world. The simple act of writing down things you are grateful for can shift your perspective from what is lacking to what is abundant, fostering a mindset of contentment and resilience. The practice of journaling extends beyond personal reflection. It can serve as a guide to understanding the deeper principles of Stoicism. As you record philosophical insights and apply them to your daily experiences, you internalize Stoic teachings more effectively. Writing about virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance helps ingrain them into your thought processes, making them more actionable in your daily life. By consistently engaging in this practice, you transform Stoic wisdom from abstract theory into practical reality. Ultimately, the power of journaling lies in its ability to foster continuous self-improvement. It is not merely a practice of writing, but a disciplined approach to cultivating a balanced and reflective mindset. Whether used to clarify thoughts, manage emotions, or deepen philosophical understanding, journaling is a cornerstone of the Stoic way of life, a timeless method to achieve mastery over oneself. Start a daily journaling habit. Write down what frustrated you today, what lessons you learned, and how you can improve. Reflect on what virtues you practiced and where you fell short. Make it a ritual, not just an exercise. By doing so, you turn your journal into a guide that leads you toward wisdom, resilience, and inner peace. Lesson 5. Indifference to praise and criticism. The Stoics taught that the opinions of others are not our concern. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Too often, people become ensnared in the judgments of others, letting external opinions dictate their self-worth and direction in life. But what if you could break free from this invisible prison? What if, instead of seeking approval or validation, you focused solely on mastering your own mind? In truth, the power to remain undisturbed lies entirely within you. People will always have opinions, and those opinions will frequently be uninformed, biased, or irrelevant to your true purpose. Recognizing that others' judgments are merely reflections of their own experiences and biases is the first step toward inner freedom. Marcus Aurelius himself faced criticism as an emperor, yet he remained unshaken, focusing instead on his duty and virtue. Many people spend their entire lives burdened by what others think of them. They shape their decisions, their words, and even their identity based on the expectations and opinions of those around them. But the truth is, you cannot control how others perceive you, nor can you dictate how they feel about you. What you can control, however, is how much weight you give their words. A Stoic does not allow external opinions to dictate their peace of mind. Instead, they remain focused on their own personal growth, values, and purpose. This perspective shift is not about arrogance or disregard for constructive feedback. Instead, it's about distinguishing between what is helpful and what is noise. The more you anchor yourself in your values and principles, the less sway external voices will have over your mental peace. Instead of being a leaf blown about by every passing wind, you become the unyielding tree, firmly rooted in self-awareness and purpose. When you become indifferent to external praise or criticism, you reclaim control over your own mind. You develop an unshakable confidence in your actions and choices, ensuring that your happiness and fulfillment do not rely on external validation. Consider how often people seek approval in their daily lives, whether through social media, work achievements, or relationships. This endless pursuit of validation is exhausting and ultimately unsatisfying. The more we look outward for affirmation, the more dependent we become on the unpredictable and often fickle opinions of others. This external validation cycle creates anxiety and insecurity, reinforcing the false belief that our worth is determined by external sources rather than internal conviction. A Stoic, however, understands that true contentment comes from within, not from the fleeting opinions of others. They recognize that public opinion is ever-changing, inconsistent, and often based on limited perspectives. Rather than basing their self-worth on what others think, they find peace in knowing that they are living according to their own principles. They do not need permission to pursue what is right, nor do they seek constant approval for their actions. This detachment from external validation creates a deep sense of personal freedom and resilience. Those who seek constant approval often find themselves trapped in a cycle of people-pleasing, making choices that align with what is popular rather than what is right. This can lead to an erosion of personal identity and values over time. The Stoic understands that integrity and authenticity hold greater long-term value than momentary acceptance by others. By living in accordance with virtue and inner principles, one finds an unshakable sense of purpose that remains unaffected by shifting external opinions. The next time you find yourself worrying about what others think, remind yourself, their opinions are not within your control. Ask yourself, is this feedback valuable for my growth, or is it just a distraction? Reflect on past experiences where external criticism influenced your emotions and how you could have responded differently. Take a moment each day to reaffirm your personal values and remind yourself that your worth is not dictated by others' perceptions. Write down one action each day that aligns with your values rather than external approval. The more you practice filtering out unnecessary judgment and focusing on your inner principles, the more liberated, confident, and resilient you will become. Lesson 6. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. One of the most powerful Stoic reminders is Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. This is not meant to be morbid, but to bring clarity and urgency to how you live. It is a reminder that every moment is precious and should not be squandered on trivial concerns, meaningless anxieties, or petty disputes. When you truly internalize this idea, you begin to see life differently. You appreciate the present more, waste less time, and focus on what truly matters. Many people live as though they have unlimited time, postponing their dreams, deferring happiness, and delaying what they know is important. They worry endlessly about things that, in the face of mortality, hold no real significance. But death is inevitable, and this realization can either paralyze you with fear or empower you to live fully. The Stoics chose the latter, recognizing that by embracing mortality, one can live a more intentional and fulfilled life. By remembering that you are mortal, you make better decisions. You stop sweating the small stuff. You express gratitude more freely, and you choose to spend your time wisely on meaningful relationships, self-improvement, and acts of virtue. This practice does not encourage recklessness, but rather a conscious and deliberate approach to life. Instead of wasting time on distractions, you align your actions with your values, ensuring that when your time comes, you have lived well. When faced with an important choice, you may ask yourself, if I knew my time was limited, what decision would I make? Often, this reflection brings clarity and directs you toward what truly matters. Yet, despite the wisdom of this practice, many people resist contemplating their own mortality. They view it as morbid or depressing, not realizing that avoidance robs them of the urgency and perspective that can make life richer. The Stoics knew that living with death in mind allows one to shed trivial worries and be present for life's most meaningful moments. When you accept that time is finite, you begin to live with greater purpose, ensuring that your actions align with your principles rather than societal expectations or fleeting desires. Memento Mori is not just a tool for mindfulness, it is a catalyst for action. It urges you to pursue what truly matters, to mend relationships that have been neglected, and to spend time with the people who bring meaning to your life. It reminds you that your time is not infinite, and therefore, every moment must be spent wisely. Those who embrace this mindset often find themselves more focused, more compassionate, and more intentional with their choices. They take more risks in pursuit of what they love, knowing that fear of failure is insignificant compared to the regret of never trying at all. Consider how different your life would be if you constantly carried the awareness that any day could be your last. Would you still waste time scrolling endlessly on your phone? Would you still engage in meaningless arguments or hold on to grudges? Likely not. You would instead cherish conversations, take greater care in your work, and find beauty in the present moment. You would approach each day as a gift, not an entitlement. Reflect on your mortality daily. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would this matter? Visualize how you would live differently if you knew your time was limited, and then make those changes now. Write a letter to your future self about what truly matters to you and use it as a guide for your daily actions. Keep a daily log of how you are spending your time and whether it aligns with your values. Each evening, review your day and identify one way you could have been more present, grateful, or intentional. Set reminders throughout the day to pause and reflect on your mortality, using it as motivation to be more engaged in your present experience. Embrace Memento Mori not as a source of fear, but as a call to live with purpose, presence, and clarity. Lesson 7. Amor Fati, love of fate. Instead of resisting life's difficulties, the Stoics believed in embracing them. Nietzsche called this concept Amor Fati, loving one's fate. Whatever happens, accept it as necessary and beneficial. This philosophy teaches that life's challenges are not obstacles, but essential parts of your journey, shaping you into the person you are meant to become. The Stoics understood that suffering and hardship are inevitable. However, they also recognized that how we perceive these difficulties determines our experience of them. When we resist adversity, we create additional suffering, but when we embrace it, we transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action, reinforcing the idea that what stands in the way becomes the way. To practice Amor Fati means to see every setback, every hardship, and every unexpected twist as a necessary and even valuable part of your existence. Instead of lamenting misfortune, you must welcome it as an essential teacher. Imagine how differently you would live if you truly believed that every experience, no matter how difficult, was guiding you toward wisdom and strength. You would no longer view struggles as interruptions, but as essential parts of your development, shaping you into a stronger and more capable individual. By shifting your mindset in this way, you develop resilience, patience, and an appreciation for life as it unfolds. Challenges that once seemed unbearable become moments of transformation. Instead of wishing for an easy life, you learn to wish for the strength to face whatever comes your way. This radical acceptance is not passive resignation, it is an active embrace of life in all its complexity. When one fully commits to Amor Fati, they no longer simply endure hardship, they seek the wisdom embedded within it. They ask, "What lesson is this moment teaching me?" They understand that growth often comes from discomfort and that each trial refines them. This approach builds a mind that is fortified against despair, one that refuses to be broken by circumstance. Instead of fighting fate, one aligns with it, using it as fuel for personal evolution. Amor Fati encourages us to relinquish the illusion of control over external events. Most suffering comes from resistance, when we try to bend reality to our desires, rather than accepting it as it is. The Stoics remind us that true peace comes from aligning our will with the flow of life, trusting that even the worst moments have a purpose. When you shift from resistance to acceptance, you reduce unnecessary frustration and cultivate an enduring sense of peace. The next time something goes wrong, instead of resisting, tell yourself, "This is happening for me, not to me." Ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Write down instances in which an unexpected hardship led to unforeseen benefits. Review these insights regularly to reinforce the mindset that every event, no matter how challenging, has the potential to serve your growth. Over time, you will develop the habit of embracing fate, turning obstacles into opportunities and transforming struggles into stepping stones toward wisdom. Lesson 8. Silence and restraint. Seneca said, "We should discipline our speech to give little room for complaint." The world today rewards outrage, controversy, and impulsive reactions. Social media thrives on the loudest voices, on those who complain, argue, and seek validation through heated discourse. However, the Stoics practiced silence and self-restraint, understanding that words spoken in anger or haste rarely lead to wisdom. The ability to control one's tongue is a powerful skill, and it requires consistent practice. In an era where public opinions change by the hour, remaining quiet and measured in response to negativity allows one to maintain clarity and strength. The Stoics knew that reacting emotionally often leads to regret, whereas taking a moment to reflect before speaking grants control over one's emotions. They understood that every word uttered should be purposeful, and that silence, when used wisely, can be the strongest argument of all. Silence does not imply weakness, nor does it mean passivity. Instead, it signifies mastery over oneself. By choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, a Stoic avoids unnecessary conflicts, wasted energy, and pointless arguments. A well-placed pause, a moment of reflection before responding, can shift the outcome of a conversation entirely. Choosing silence is often the strongest stance one can take. It allows one to maintain dignity and prevent unnecessary escalation, particularly in situations charged with emotion or conflict. Silence creates space for deeper observation and understanding. When one speaks less, one listens more. In practicing silence, a Stoic cultivates the ability to perceive hidden truths, to grasp the nuances of a situation, and to respond with clarity rather than impulse. Many of history's greatest leaders, philosophers, and thinkers understood that wisdom often comes from the ability to remain quiet and absorb the moment before offering insight. Silence, then, is not a void, but a fertile ground where deeper understanding can take root. In a world that constantly demands immediate reactions, choosing stillness over speech is a radical act. It is a declaration that not every provocation requires a response, that not every debate is worth engaging in, and that true strength comes from the ability to remain unshaken by external noise. The Stoics remind us that true influence is not in how often we speak, but in the weight and wisdom of our words when we choose to do so. By pausing before responding, we allow ourselves time to assess a situation with reason rather than emotion, leading to more thoughtful and impactful interactions. Furthermore, silence grants an individual the ability to cultivate patience, an often overlooked virtue. It allows the mind to remain composed in the face of chaos, preventing unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. Silence is not mere inaction, it is a deliberate choice that conveys discipline, confidence, and presence. When words are sparse yet meaningful, they hold greater value. People are naturally drawn to those who speak with intentionality, and their words carry a gravitas that those who speak impulsively lack. Additionally, silence is an essential tool for self-reflection. When one refrains from speaking unnecessarily, they create room for introspection. Instead of reacting hastily, they can evaluate their thoughts, emotions, and impulses, ensuring that they align with their values and principles. This practice leads to greater self-awareness and inner harmony, reinforcing the Stoic belief that mastery over oneself is the foundation of a fulfilling life. In practical terms, one can implement the art of silence by setting aside moments throughout the day to simply observe and listen. Whether it be in conversations, meetings, or personal moments of contemplation, embracing silence as a strength rather than a weakness will lead to increased wisdom and discernment. The ability to remain calm and measured, even in the face of provocation, is what separates those who lead from those who follow. Silence, then, is not just a response. It is a statement of resilience and mastery over oneself. Practice pausing before reacting. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Before engaging in any heated debate or disagreement, take a breath and consider whether your words will add value. If they won't, remain silent. Observe how this practice strengthens your control over your emotions and improves your interactions with others. Additionally, set a goal to spend a portion of each day in intentional silence, whether through meditation, journaling, or quiet reflection, to cultivate a deeper sense of inner calm and mastery over speech. Lesson 9. Service to others. The Stoics believed that we are here to serve and contribute, not merely to exist for ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is your purpose? To be good." He understood that fulfillment comes not from personal gain, but from being a force of virtue in the world. To be truly good means to act with wisdom, integrity, and kindness, even when faced with opposition or indifference. In a selfish world, be a light. It is easy to be cynical, to assume that kindness and service are weaknesses, but the Stoics knew otherwise. They saw that real strength lies in the ability to contribute without expectation of reward. When others act out of self-interest, a Stoic remains steadfast in their duty to help, guide, and support. Being good is not about grand gestures, It is about small, daily acts of service, treating others with dignity, and standing firm in moral principles despite the pressures of society. True service is not about recognition. It is about the quiet, consistent effort to make the world a better place. It is in mentoring, in giving without seeking validation, and in uplifting those who have lost their way. It is the strength to be compassionate when the world teaches indifference. The Stoics remind us that life's highest calling is not accumulation, but contribution. True service is an antidote to selfishness. It shifts focus from one's personal desires to the broader needs of humanity. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, adds up to something far greater than the individual. The Stoic approach to service is not about seeking external praise, but about internal fulfillment, an understanding that living virtuously is its own reward. Living with a mindset of contribution means seeking out ways to positively impact others, even when no one is watching. It is offering help to a stranger, standing up for what is right despite opposition, and sharing wisdom without expectation of gratitude. A Stoic does not serve because they seek approval, but because it is the right thing to do. Service in this sense is a form of self-mastery. It is the ability to transcend self-interest and commit to the greater good without concern for recognition or reward. In practice, this means integrating service into daily life in ways both big and small. It could be as simple as listening intently when someone needs to talk, giving advice when it is sought, or showing patience in moments of frustration. It means offering help not only when convenient, but when difficult. It means showing up for others even when you yourself are struggling. It means lending a hand, not because you expect anything in return, but because doing good is a reflection of who you are. Service is an act of discipline, one that strengthens character and reinforces the Stoic principle of acting in alignment with virtue. Moreover, a Stoic understands that true service often goes unnoticed. There is no need to announce one's contributions or expect gratitude in return. Some of the most impactful acts of kindness happen quietly, without recognition, yet they leave a lasting imprint. Think of the teacher who inspires a student but never sees the result, the mentor who gives wisdom freely without expectation of thanks, or the individual who offers kindness to someone who may never be in a position to return it. These moments define the essence of contribution, giving simply because it is right. Additionally, living with a spirit of contribution is not just about others. It is also about shaping who you become. Every act of service refines your character, teaching humility, patience, and empathy. By regularly engaging in acts of kindness, you strengthen your ability to rise above selfish desires and foster a deeper sense of connection with the world around you. It transforms the way you see challenges, not as personal inconveniences, but as opportunities to assist, uplift, and improve the conditions of others. True strength lies not in power, wealth, or prestige, but in the quiet, consistent ability to elevate those around you. The Stoics understood that our time on this earth is short, and the greatest legacy we leave behind is how we improved the lives of others. Contribution, then, is not merely a virtue, it is the foundation of a meaningful life. When life is over, it will not be the wealth you accumulated or the accolades you received that define your legacy, but the kindness, wisdom, and generosity you extended to those in need. A Stoic understands that every day presents a new opportunity to serve, and in doing so, they cultivate a life of true purpose and fulfillment. Lesson 10. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every difficulty, every challenge is an opportunity for growth." The Stoics understood that obstacles are not barriers but pathways. Each hardship is a lesson in disguise, a forge for character, and a test of resolve. When we face resistance, we are being given the chance to practice patience, endurance, and creative problem-solving. Consider the great minds throughout history who have embraced this mindset. The Wright brothers faced ridicule when they pursued human flight, yet their persistence transformed transportation forever. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb, embodying the very essence of Stoic perseverance. These individuals did not see obstacles as barriers, but as invitations to develop strength, wisdom, and resilience. When we stop seeing challenges as misfortunes and instead recognize them as necessary steps toward mastery, we cultivate an unstoppable mindset. Hardship is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The moment we shift our perception, we reclaim control. Challenges cease to be barriers and instead become catalysts for personal evolution. Every setback offers a lesson, whether in patience, adaptability, or sheer grit. The only true failure is to abandon the path when adversity arises. The Stoic does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "How can this strengthen me?" Each difficulty presents an opportunity to refine your character, discipline your emotions, and sharpen your perspective. To embrace obstacles as opportunities is to unlock a deeper level of resilience. Many people are defeated not by their circumstances, but by their reactions to them. A Stoic, however, does not crumble under the weight of hardship, but instead uses it as a foundation for growth. When something goes wrong, instead of lamenting, they ask, "How can this serve me? What is this teaching me? How can I turn this into an advantage?" This shift in thinking is what separates those who are controlled by life's unpredictability from those who shape their own destiny. Resilience is not just about enduring pain, it is about transforming it into wisdom. The Stoics saw adversity as a sculptor shaping the soul, chiseling away weaknesses and revealing a stronger, more refined character. When faced with setbacks, instead of despairing, they trained themselves to see hidden benefits. Every moment of struggle was an opportunity to exercise patience, temperance, and fortitude. By reframing hardships as necessary elements of personal growth, they maintained control over their emotional state and refused to be defined by misfortune. By embracing this philosophy, we cultivate resilience in all aspects of life. Whether dealing with personal struggles, professional failures, or unexpected difficulties, we must remind ourselves that our greatest growth comes from pushing through resistance. The obstacle does not block the path, it becomes the path. The discipline of endurance builds an inner fortitude that nothing can shake. Over time, this practice transforms challenges into stepping stones, setbacks into wisdom, and hardship into power. The more resistance we encounter, the more capable we become. The key is to train ourselves not to shrink from difficulty, but to lean into it, to see every struggle as an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. Adversity has the power to either break or strengthen us. The key lies in how we respond. When we resist, we prolong suffering. When we accept and adapt, we gain control. The Stoic approach to hardship is not mere endurance. It is the art of thriving within struggle. Marcus Aurelius viewed challenges as a form of training, sharpening his resolve with each new difficulty. In the same way, when we welcome obstacles as opportunities to refine ourselves, we shift from victimhood to mastery. We stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Try me." The person who embraces hardship does not merely survive it. They transform through it, emerging stronger than before. A key component of resilience is mental agility, the ability to adjust our mindset in response to hardship. Instead of seeing failure as an endpoint, the Stoic sees it as feedback, a stepping stone toward eventual success. They understand that suffering is temporary, but the lessons extracted from it last forever. By rewiring our thinking to see obstacles as essential teachers, we cultivate the mindset of an unstoppable individual, someone who can face any difficulty with courage and clarity. It is not just about enduring difficulties, but about extracting their wisdom and using it as fuel for future success. To fully embrace this philosophy, one must develop the habit of reframing challenges in real time. Every moment of struggle should be seen as an opportunity to refine your patience, discipline, and resilience. Instead of seeing roadblocks as signs of failure, see them as checkpoints of growth. Understand that every hardship is shaping you into someone stronger, someone more capable of handling whatever comes next. This mindset shift does not happen overnight, but through daily practice, it becomes a way of life. The Stoic approach is not about blind optimism or ignoring hardship. It is about facing reality with unwavering determination. It is about choosing to see every situation, no matter how difficult, as something that can work in your favor if you let it. There is no room for self-pity or despair in this mindset. There is only room for adaptation, perseverance, and transformation. The strongest individuals are not those who have avoided struggle, but those who have faced it, embraced it, and allowed it to shape them into something greater than they were before. The next time you face an obstacle, pause and reflect before reacting. Ask yourself, what is this challenge teaching me? How can I use this to grow stronger? Keep a journal of your struggles and note the lessons learned from each one. Train yourself to respond to adversity not with frustration, but with curiosity and determination. Over time, you will develop a mindset that sees every difficulty as a hidden advantage, making you not just resilient, but unstoppable. Additionally, practice reframing setbacks. Every time something goes wrong, write down 3 ways it could actually benefit you. Doing this consistently will train your mind to instinctively search for the lesson in every hardship, making you stronger with each challenge you face. The world will always be chaotic. People will always be difficult. Life will always be unpredictable. But you, if you train yourself, if you practice, if you embrace the Stoic mindset, you will not be disturbed. You will remain steady. And that steadiness will not just make you unshakable, but it will also make the world a better place. Because when one person chooses wisdom over outrage, discipline over chaos, and virtue over convenience, they inspire others to do the same. They create a ripple effect, influencing those around them, not through force, but through example. The Stoic does not demand change from the world. They become the change, demonstrating the power of composure, rational thought, and ethical action in the face of adversity. This is not about passive acceptance. It is about active mastery. Mastery over the self, over emotions, over the fleeting urges that lead others to frustration and despair. The Stoic understands that true control lies not in bending the world to their will, but in bending their own will to meet the world with clarity and strength. So don't be like them. Be better. Do not fall into the trap of reacting with bitterness, with rage, or with mindless reactivity. Instead, rise above. Choose stillness over chaos. Choose self-discipline over impulsivity. Choose understanding over judgment. And in doing so, make the world better too. Because the world does not change through demands and complaints. It changes when individuals commit to mastering themselves, when they choose to act with courage and virtue, despite the noise and disorder around them. It changes when you decide to be the rock that remains unmoved, the flame that continues to burn brightly, regardless of the storm that rages outside. The world will never be perfect, but you can be better, and that is where real transformation begins.